Greetings duelists, and welcome to another video. So we're still talking about Dracotail. This pretty much just became like my favorite deck this format. Stuff that involve Canine are my second favorite now. And on each passing day, I keep experimenting with the deck. Like, this is one of these decks where there is no right or wrong on how you play it. There are some different nuances that people have when it comes to the engines that you play, whether or not you should be playing hand traps, how basic or how not basic you should be playing the deck, how much is the ceiling of the deck, and I'm going to talk about why I chose Dracotail as like my main deck in the first place, and then I'm going to talk about this engine right here that you see in the screen, which is the Tearlament engine. I've had at least 3 to 4 people at my locals telling me you should just cut these cards. I know that you're playing it because you like them. I haven't said anything about you playing these cards because I feel like you're having so much fun with the deck. These cards are not worth it in the deck. And when it comes to Dracotail, there are no real streamline combos, or there's no real like ceiling gap when it comes to innovation with the deck. I feel like Dracotail is just one of these strategies where even after a month, people will still experiment on and will still find avenues to like work with them. An archetype that pretty much reminds me of this is Dangers. When Dangers debuted back in 2018, there was no such thing as the correct Danger deck. Some people played Danger OTK, some people played Danger Dark World, some people played the Danger Thunder Dragon deck, some people played Danger Orchest. Like, Danger just became this very strong, splashable engine that just enabled a lot of strategies to be possible. And I think the same thing will happen with Dracotail. I think that as more months will come, more innovations and more ideas and more builds of Dracotail will go flying around. Right now, the most popular variant is the Canine variant. And I do understand the appeal. Basically, the appeal behind that deck is that you have a lot of turn 0 plays besides just 5 mana. You have 5 mana, you have Izuna, you have like a bunch of other extenders, and you basically just like punish those decks that are just playing with their hand or graveyard, like the mirror match. So now that we got that equation out of the way, let's talk about the Tearlament engine. So this is not the first deck where I play these 5 cards in. I also experimented this in Chimera. Back when Chimera debuted back in 2022 or 2023 rather. It was 2023. Yeah, Duelist Nexus. The whole purpose behind this engine was to be paired with the Shaddoll cards. So right now, my current Dracotail build is playing like 7 Shaddolls. Like at the moment. And the Tearlaments work really well with the Shaddolls because it gives you more avenues for making Winda besides just regular fusion memes. Another thing that Perla Rhino did for us was it gave Winda 500 extra attack, which is a very big deal. Like, the gap between 2200 and 2700 is actually big. We're talking about not being run over by Chaos Hunter, not being run over by Heavy Borgard, not being able to be ran over by Regenesis monsters. Like, that gap is already big enough to warrant the existence of Winda in, like, well, the Tearlament engine alongside the Shaddolls. Now, that shouldn't be it, right? that can't be just the only reason I'm playing Tearlaments in Dracotail, right? Another really cool thing about the Tearlaments is if you pair it with Blazing Cartesia, there is a lot more possibilities that you can do because of Gragwind Null. So the existence of Gragwind Null makes it so the Tearlament fusions, or whatever you fuse with the Tearlaments alongside Blazing Cartesia, are almost limitless. What do I mean by that? If you pair the Gragwind Null's effect alongside your Tearlament effect, you can do so many different cool plays. You can send Muddy Mud Dragon and have that become a fusion substitute monster for stuff like Grapha. You can summon like Rolkalos if you want to play it in the deck. You can play like a bunch of other really cool boss monsters. Obviously, the bigger culprits are Draco, Stapelia, Garura, and Mud Dragon, which we already play in our deck because we play Super Polymerization. So that kind of elevates the ceiling as well. Like, if you know what matchup you're facing against and you have like a very concrete extra deck, you can just use the Grapha or use the Gragwind Null, dump, like, for example, the Muddy Mud Dragon, fuse with your tier monster, make the Grapha fusion, and the Grapha fusion is really, really strong. You can make Rolkalos as well, like I already mentioned that, but you can even send the Apkalone. You send Apkalone, and then you can fuse away the Apkalone to just make Winda alongside the Gragwind Null. And all of a sudden, you have Gragwind Null alongside Winda, and all you did was use Blazing Cartesia with your tier monsters. And this is not even mentioning the part where the game recognizes that you sent a fusion with Gragwind Null, so Blazing Cartesia adds herself back to your hand during the end phase. So all of a sudden, you went +1, you have a Floodgate Winda on board. They're both like big, like 3k and 2700 attack, and Cartesia is back in your hand. All of that was done because of these two card combo. Now, let's talk about Dracotail alongside this engine, because we're only just talking about like the tier stuff, right? So let's take, for example, let's move all these cards out of the way real quick. Let's say you opened like a Dracotail along the fight side, the field spell, right? Or you just open any other monster. Let's take a second Lucius, for example. So we're going to activate our Perlerino. Perlerino is going to add us our tier monster. I typically like adding Sharon because Sharon like just has more attack. Fun fact: Sharon can run over Winda if you play this engine and you're facing against Winda yourself. So that's something to keep in mind. So we added a Sharon. We're going to normal summon the Lucius. Lucius is going to add us like 5 mana, right? We'll use the 5 mana. 5 mana is going to fuse. And let's say, for example, you use the Sharon and the Lucius. And you just make Altharion, right? You make the Arthalion. And with the Arthalion, you're going to grab back the Sharon with the 5 mana. You're going to be, with the Lucius, you'll be setting like a Speller Trap, right? Let's say you're setting like the K2 Dracotail or something like that. Or you're setting Rahu, rather. Rahu is a better one. Let's set the Rahu. So we're setting the Rahu. we'll flip the Rahu, we'll send the Lucias from hand, and let's send an Orgula. Orgula is going to trigger, Orgula is going to set. So let's set our Dracotail Power Trap. We haven't went through Ketu yet, but let's say we set a defensive card. Let's say we set Horn or Flame, right? Let's set us the Flame. Yeah, let's set the Flame. And we can put the Horn here on the side. It could be either or. Okay, so now we're at this point, right? The Sharon's still in our hand. We're going to Orgula effect. We're going to place it at the bottom of the deck. And we're going to grab back the 5 mana. Now, let's go to our opponent's turn, right? If you use 5 mana as an interruption on your opponent's turn, the most you're getting out of it are either another Althalion or Gulamel, if you use like a Dracotail monster, right? And these interruptions are okay. They're not bad interruptions. But check out what happens if you use a tier monster as part of your fusion summon for your Dracotail. We're going to use the 5 mana. We're going to fuse away these two. So we're fusing Sharon and Arthalion. And we're going to make a second Arthalion. Now, this Arthalion is going to bounce a card, right? What if I told you, because of the tier monster, this one interruption now becomes 3 interruptions? We'll show you the chain. We're going to activate Arthalion to bounce back. We're going to activate the Sharon to fusion summon. We're going to fuse the Sharon alongside the second Arthalion. So Arthalion goes back, and the Sharon goes back to the deck. And now, and with those two, we're going to make Draco's Tapelia. In a separate chain, Pearl is going to trigger because a tier monster was sent back to the deck, which means 1 pop. And our Draco's Tapelia can put a Predator counter on a monster, and while it's on the board, it can negate the monster that has the Predator counter. Because of the Tearlament monster, we have 2 fusions that are 500 points bigger with each other. You gained a new fusion monster out of it, and you gained an interruption because of the field spell. And the other really cool thing about this play is you're recycling your Arthalion back into your deck. So you have more resources for more Dracotails on later turns. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to show that real quick. Like, the Tearlament monsters have a really strong dynamic. The tier monsters are also not bad. At least Pearl engine is not bad if you're going second as well. Dracotail is a deck that thrives on going second, depending on how many fusion materials or what monsters are using as fusion materials. So, like, let's say for example, right? Let's say hypothetically, you're going second, and you have like Orgula Sharon, you have Blazing Cartesia. It doesn't have to be Blazing Cartesia, I'm just showing you examples. We played 3 Squamatas, so let's just throw a random Squamata in there. And let's say you have the Rahu Dracotail, right? You have the Pro Rhino grabs us the tier monster. And now, this Rahu Dracotail is a way bigger threat than it was without the Pearl Rhino. Because now, this Rahu Dracotail becomes 2 fusion monsters and a pop. And both fusions have extra 500 attack. And that's not even talking about the Dracotail interruptions, or the Dracotail interactions that you're doing with the deck. And if we add Shaddoll monsters in the mix, it just becomes even stronger. And all of a sudden, if we use the Blazing Gratesia, you can use your tier monster to make the Grabwing Null, which is another interruption. You can make Winda as well. You can make Draco's Tapelia. Like, the ceiling of the deck got extremely elevated just because of this card. And going second, this is a big deal because this means that this is another card to bait interruptions, another card to bait back row, another card that pretty much makes your opponent think twice when they want to stop your fusion plays, or where they want to stop, or where they want to interact. Yummy was already a good matchup for us. This card makes it so the Yummy matchup becomes even easier, almost unwinnable. Again, if you're playing against Vanquish Soul, for example, outside of Jawlong switching Winda to defense, or like having the Caesar, nothing else in the deck will be able to run over Winda, not even Heavy Borgard, which matters because that is already a bad matchup for us. But yeah, I think I rambled a little bit. I kind of just wanted to talk about the Tearlament engine because not many people are convinced this is good in Dracotail, and I kinda want to like explain at least the merits behind it. This is not to say this is the engine you should be playing in Dracotail. I'm not saying that, you know, if you're playing this, if you're not playing this, you're kind of behind. This is just another option besides all the aforementioned options that we already have. But yeah, I hope you found this informative and to your liking and understanding. More Justice Hunter videos coming soon. Keep practicing and keep dueling.